Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast. I'm Dr. John Miller, and today we're talking about something that quietly shapes the way we age: our bones. If you're over 60, you may already feel it. The hesitation before taking the stairs, the stiffness when rising from a chair, the way posture seems to shrink year by year. What most people don't realize is how fragile this process can become. 1 in 2 women over 50 will suffer a fracture from osteoporosis. For men, it's about 1 in 4, and after a hip fracture, the risk can be life-changing. Nearly a third of patients don't survive the year, but here's the part that gives me hope. What seems like silent decline is not the end of the story, and bones are not stone. They are alive, listening, and constantly adapting. And today we'll learn how just 5 minutes a day, no machines, no pills, just your own body, can awaken that process. To guide us, I'm honored to welcome back a very special guest. He is a retired physician of traditional Japanese medicine from Japan, respected across generations, known for his wisdom and his gentleness. At 84 years old, he still walks with grace, still teaches, and still inspires. Dr. Hinohara, it is such a privilege to have you here again.
Thank you, Dr. John. And thank you to everyone listening. In Japanese we say, the body is like a house, the bones are its pillars. If the pillars weaken, the house cannot stand, but weakness does not arrive suddenly. It begins in silence, when we stop moving with purpose, when we forget to honour the body's rhythm. I have seen 70-year-olds stand taller after years of stooping. I have seen 80-year-olds walk steadily again after believing their balance was gone. What changed was not their age, it was their attention. A few minutes a day, given with care, can send the message: you are still alive and you are still needed. That message is powerful medicine.
Dr. Hinohara, you've already shifted how I think about bones. In Western medicine, we often describe them as brittle, as if they simply crumble with age. But you've said they are alive and listening. Why then do so many people lose bone strength as they grow older?
That is a good question, John. In Japanese medicine, we say the marrow is the root of strength. The bones hold not just our weight, but also our vitality. With age, the body's energy, what we call qi, becomes quieter. People sit longer, move less, breathe more shallowly. The body interprets this silence as a message. You are not needed. Slowly, the builders inside the bone grow sleepy, while the demolishers keep working.
That actually parallels what we see in physiology. In the West, we talk about osteoblasts of the cells that build bone, and osteoclasts, the ones that break it down. When we're young, they're in balance. But after our 50s, that balance shifts. The builders don't get enough stimulation and breakdown overtakes repair.
Exactly. 2 languages, same truth. And the trigger is not only aging itself, it is habit. When the knees ache, we stop bending. When the back feels tight, we stop reaching. When the balance feels unsteady, we stop walking. To protect ourselves, we become still. But stillness without intention is like telling the bones, your story is finished.
That's powerful. I've had patients who gave up stairs not because they fell, but because they feared they might. That quiet fear leads to less motion, which then makes them weaker. It becomes a cycle.
Yes, and fear shortens the breath, collapses the chest, tightens the posture. The bones, which once stood proudly like bamboo, begin to bend. But here is the hope. Bones are not fixed. They are like a garden. If you water, if you give sunlight, the plants will grow again. Even in the later seasons of life, the soil still listens.
So when we describe bones as declining or brittle, we may be discouraging people too soon. What matters more is whether the bone still receives the signal to grow.
Yes, John. In Japanese we say, do not ask the age of the tree. Ask whether it still receives rain. Bones are the same. They respond to pressure, to posture, to gentle rhythm. not punishment, not strain, rhythm.
I think this is the part many listeners are waiting for. When it comes to bone health, most people want to know, what am I doing wrong? From my own patients, I've noticed a few patterns. The first mistake is relying too much on supplements. Many people believe that as long as they take calcium or vitamin D, their bones will stay strong. But supplements alone aren't enough. They work best alongside exercise, nutrition, and, when needed, prescribed treatment from a doctor.
Yes, supplements can be helpful, but they are not the whole answer. If you pour water into a dry tree, but the soil is compacted and the roots are asleep, the tree will not drink. In the same way, calcium without movement is like food without appetite. The body must be awakened to receive it.
That makes sense. Another mistake I often see is people avoiding movement because of fear. They sit for hours thinking they're protecting their bones. But in reality, the less they move, the weaker their bones become.
Correct. Stillness is not the enemy if it is mindful, like meditation. But stillness born of fear is different. It sends no signal to the bones. In Campo, we say the river that stops flowing becomes stagnant. Motion, even gentle, keeps the chi alive and tells the bones they are still needed.
I like that distinction. The third mistake I'd add is the belief that exercise must hurt to help. Some older adults think only heavy weights or painful effort will strengthen bones. Then they either avoid exercise altogether or injure themselves trying.
This is very important. Pain is not proof. Bones respond to rhythm, not violence. A few minutes of proper posture, steady breath, and gentle alignment can send a stronger message than an hour of strain. In fact, pushing too hard often increases fear, which then leads people back to stillness. The wise path is slow, safe, and consistent.
So the big three mistakes are depending only on pills, avoiding movement out of fear, and assuming exercise must be painful. Correcting these could already change the story for many people.
Yes, John. If our listeners remember nothing else, let them remember this. The bone listens to kindness, not to force.
All right, Doctor. Hinohara, we've talked about the mistakes. Let's shift to solutions. If someone at home is listening, maybe they're already in their 70s, maybe they've noticed their posture shrinking, or their balance feeling shaky. What do you recommend instead? Where should they begin?
We begin not with effort, but with awareness. In Japanese medicine, we believe posture is the root of strength. If the body aligns with gravity, energy flows, breath deepens, and the bones awaken. One simple practice I often teach requires no equipment, only a wall.
Just a wall? That's encouraging.
Yes, stand gently with your back close to the wall. Let your heels touch if comfortable, your shoulder blades rest, and the back of your head lean without strain. If the head does not reach, do not force. Simply notice the space. Take 2 slow breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Feel how gravity settles you. This is not exercise in the Western sense. It is remembrance. You are reminding your spine how to stand, your breath how to flow.
That sounds almost meditative.
It is. And once you find that quiet line, you can add small movement. Raise your arms slowly in the shape of a snow angel, elbows bent, hands gliding up and down. This awakens the stabilizers of the spine, the hidden muscles that keep us upright. Just 3 or 4 repetitions done daily can send a powerful signal to the bones. You are still needed here.
That's beautiful, and very different from how we usually imagine bone strengthening. No weights, no machines, just alignment and breath.
Exactly. Bones respond to consistency, not intensity. 5 minutes each day is far stronger medicine than 1 painful hour each week. And in Campo, we pair movement with nourishment. Foods that build marrow, black sesame, walnuts, bone broth simmered slowly, these feed the kidney essence, which is linked to bone vitality. When combined with mindful posture, food and movement work together like two hands holding the same bowl.
So the prescription is gentle daily posture practice, they paired with simple, nourishing foods. That feels accessible, even for people who feel too old to start something new.
Yes, John. The body is never too old to listen. What it needs is rhythm, kindness, and patience.
What you just described really resonates. And interestingly, modern research is beginning to echo these principles. In the West, we talk about something called mechanotransduction. That means bones actually remodel in response to mechanical signals: pressure, alignment, weight-bearing motion. Even subtle movements tell the osteoblasts, the bone-building cells, to get back to work.
Yes. In Japanese medicine, we do not use that word, but we see the same truth. Where there is movement, there is growth. Where there is silence, there is decline.
Exactly. In fact, studies published in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy have shown that posture-focused exercises improve spinal curvature and balance in women over 65. And research in Osteoporosis International demonstrated that gentle, low-impact movements, even simple wall exercises, can increase bone density at the spine and hip when practiced consistently.
Consistency is the key. A bird does not strengthen its wings by one long flight each year, but by daily stretching, daily fluttering. The body is the same.
That's a perfect metaphor. And I want to underline something you said earlier. Intensity isn't what matters most. In Western clinics, we sometimes push patients toward heavy weights or machines, but many of them stop because it feels intimidating or unsafe. Yet the science shows what you've been teaching all along, that rhythm and reliability send a stronger signal to the bones than rare bursts of strain.
Yes, John. A whisper spoken every day changes the heart more than a shout heard once a year.
Beautifully said. And physiologically, it's true. Even 5 minutes a day activates stabilizing muscles, improves balance, and reduces fall risk. And that reduced risk is just as important as bone density itself, because it means fewer fractures.
Exactly. Bone strength is not only in the mineral, it is also in the confidence to move, the trust in one's own body. Science and tradition meet here. Both agree the body can still adapt, even in later years, if we give it the right signal.
Dr. Hinohara, you've shared the science and the wisdom, but I think what really touches people are the stories. Could you share an example from your own practice? Maybe someone who used these methods and found change?
Yes, John. I remember a man named Mr. Fu, 79 years old, when he came to see me. He walked into my clinic leaning forward as though a weight was pressing him down. He told me, "Doctor, I always feel like I am falling, even when I stand still." He had not fallen yet, but the fear lived in his body. I began with something very simple, standing against the wall for just 2 minutes a day. At first, he laughed. He said, "This cannot help. I have been bent for years," but I asked him to trust the process. Slowly, we added the snow angel movement with the arms, and we paired it with warm soup made from black sesame and walnuts each morning. 3 weeks later, he returned. This time, he walked into the room taller, his steps more even. He said, "Doctor, I feel like my balance is automatic again." He did not mean that his bones had suddenly grown strong, like when he was young, but that his body had remembered how to carry him. The fear that once bent him forward had softened.
That's remarkable. And it really illustrates what we've been saying, that the change isn't only physical, it's also about confidence, about trust in the body.
Yes, bones are not only matter, they are memory. When we move with kindness, the body remembers how to stand, how to trust itself again. That trust is perhaps the greatest medicine.
For everyone listening at home, let's make this practical. If you're concerned about your bones, here are the steps you can begin today. First, stand against a wall for a few minutes each day. Heels close, shoulder blades touching, back of the head resting if possible. Breathe slowly in through the nose, out through the mouth. Second, add gentle arm movement, like a slow snow angel, while keeping your posture aligned. Just 3 or 4 repetitions. It sounds simple, but it reawakens the stabilizing muscles, sends signals to your bones, and builds balance. And when practiced daily, it can be more powerful than any occasional burst of exercise.
Yes, John. And to deepen the benefit, I suggest 2 small additions. First, choose the morning, soon after waking, when the mind is fresh. In Japanese medicine, we say, the day follows the first breath. Begin the day with alignment, and the body will carry that memory forward. Second, nourish the marrow with food. A spoonful of black sesame paste, a handful of walnuts, or a bowl of slow-simmered bone broth in winter. These feed the kidney essence, which supports bone vitality. Small daily rituals, paired with gentle movement, become powerful medicine over time.
So the takeaway plan is clear. 5 minutes a day of mindful posture and motion, paired with simple, nourishing foods. No machines, no stress, no complicated routines. Just rhythm, consistency, and care.
Exactly. Healing is not about doing more, but about doing what matters, and doing it every day.
Dr. Hinohara, this has been such a meaningful conversation. You've reminded us that bone health is not only about numbers on a scan, but about rhythm, confidence, and trust in our bodies.
Thank you, John, and thank you to everyone listening. In Japanese we say, the tree that bends with the wind does not break. Bones too can bend and adapt when given kindness. No matter your age, your body is still listening.
That's such a powerful thought. That it's never too late, that even in our 70s, 80s, and beyond, our bones can still respond.
Yes, remember, move gently each day, not because you are fragile, but because you are still alive. Each breath, each step is a reminder to the body that its story continues.
Beautifully said. To our listeners, we invite you to try this for just 7 days. 5 minutes a day, standing with the wall, breathing, moving slowly. And see what changes in your posture, in your balance, even in your confidence.
And if you feel the difference, share it with others. Healing is stronger when it is shared.
Dr. Hinohara, thank you again for your wisdom. And to everyone tuning in, take care of your bones, take care of your rhythm, and take care of yourself. We'll see you next time on the Senior Health Podcast.